I'm Kathleen Wildwood. Welcome to my kitchen and to my ideas about the energy-efficient way of health. I've just finished revising and updating a book that I wrote in 1981 that's called The Energy-Efficient Way of Health. It will be available at lulu.com, and this DVD is to help you understand the things that I do in my life every day. In a few days, I will be 72 years old. I began changing my diet and my living habits when I was 40. So I've been a vegan for over 30 years, and it's what works for me. I share this information with you for you to see what works for you. Listen to your body and understand what your body needs. That's the place to start. Understanding how the body works, what the body needs, what nutrients the body needs. Study the foods that bring those nutrients, and then create the diet so that your body has the nutrients that it needs. But let's begin with water. There's a lot of discussion about the water to put into your body. I choose distilled water because it is the purest. It is simply H2O. I get my water from Fort Worth, and it comes from an artesian well and is then pressure distilled, steam distilled. As soon as I get the water home, I put it in glass jars that have a crystal in it. It only takes a tiny crystal. So this is my crystal-charged distilled water. It's the only water that I drink. So then what do we do with the water? The next thing I do is put some millet into a jar, 1/4 of a cup of millet, and fill the jar. Leave it out of the refrigerator overnight, and the water is called Rejuvelac. As you can see, it's a little bit cloudy. It has enzymes from the millet. Now, what do I do with the Rejuvelac? Well, one of the most important things I do is make cashew cheese. Cashew cheese, for me, is an original recipe that I found by trying to make ice cream without milk, eggs, or sugar. My son bought me an electric ice cream maker, and I was living in Puerto Rico, so I wanted to make mango ice cream. So I decided to put cashews in the Rejuvelac, and then I just used the whey. I put it in a cheese bag, and then I mixed the mangoes with the whey. But I had this glob of cashews left over, so I put a little bit of green onion tops and a little bit of herb salt called Spike, and that's how I had cashew cheese. When I took a foods class at the University of Wisconsin when I was 20, I found out that cheese is a process, not a dairy product. So cheese is an enzyme acting on a protein. Actually, it digests the protein. So the enzyme in the Rejuvelac is acting on the cashew, and it actually tastes like cheese. So now I'm going to show you how to make the cashew cheese. You put 2 cups of raw cashew pieces into a blender, and then you add the Rejuvelac. Now we pour this cashew mixture into a bowl. And we're going to add Spike herb salt that you can get at a health food store. A teaspoon. And then we put a little bit of the herb salt on top, just for a garnish. set this outside of the refrigerator for several hours. So that gives the enzymes the chance to activate and work on the cashew. So what else do I do with the Rejuvelac? For my breakfast drink, I put into a jar 2 dried apricots unsulfured, 2 dates, 1 fig unsulfured, 1/4 of a cup of raisins, 1/4 of a cup of goji berries, and 6 almonds. Then I pour the Rejuvelac over it. And this I keep in the refrigerator overnight. And the next morning I put it in the blender with a banana, and that's what I have for my breakfast. I also put a teaspoon of dolomite, a teaspoon of bee pollen, a teaspoon of blackstrap molasses for the iron, flaxseed meal. I have a coffee grinder that I put the flaxseed in to grind it up. And I also put a teaspoon of hemp hearts, so that gives a little more protein. The goji berries are a great source of protein, and you can get those at Central Market in Fort Worth or at Whole Foods. What else do we do with the Crystal Charge distilled water? I make ginger tea. I just put that water into the teapot and slice the peeled ginger into it. Let the water come almost to a boil. Turn the fire off and just let it set. So what do I do with the ginger tea? After I have made my breakfast drink in the blender and pour it into the glass, then I pour the ginger tea into the blender and swish it around to get all of the good nutrients out of the blender. And then I put that into the glass so I get a little bit of oomph from the ginger. For supper, I take baked sweet potato and mash it with a teaspoon of miso paste, and then I heat the ginger tea, pour the hot ginger tea over the sweet potato and miso, and then you can add some cashew cheese to that. If you want, you can add other vegetables. Mostly I just do it like that. So that's my third meal for the day.